The first step in the scientific method is making observations and gathering knowledge about a phenomenon, wherein one should recognize a problem and gain a deeper understanding of it. Dito sa part na to, nag-umpisa ang paglalahad ng ideas o the chosen topic. In other words, a background check. It is the act of finding information by digging deeper, or we could simply say a research. Since we are doing a scientific method, we must act and think as a scientist. So for example, hindi na tayo lalayo, let's talk about jeepney modernization. So jeepney modernization or public utility vehicle modernization program has already been announced way back 2017, proposed by the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB as a way para ma-resolve ang transport-related problems sa ating bansa like traffic and many more. So ang aim nito is to transform our public transport system to be on par with global standards. So for this to happen, the government will replace older jeepneys with new ones. Papalitan ng gobyerno ng mga jeepney that is 15 years old or older than that with jeepneys that are powered by electric powertrain or a Euro 4 compliant diesel engine. However, modern jeepneys are truly expensive, as in sobrang mahal. A modern jeepney costs about 600,000 to 700,000 pesos, pero ang preferred unit ng government ay nagkakahalaga ng 1.6 to 1.8 million pesos, which is ridiculously high, hindi ba? Compared to what an average jeepney driver earns, which is around 500 to 600 pesos a day. And with this great gap in earnings and the cost of the modern jeepney, there are bound to be groups who will oppose the idea. Some transport groups deem the jeepney modernization as anti-poor. So, the underlying question would be, is jeepney modernization efficient and effective?
So ngayon, dadako tayo sa next step ng scientific method, which is the formulation of hypothesis. Ano nga ba muna ang hypothesis? The hypothesis is a predictive, testable statement predicting the outcome and the results the researcher expects to find. Ang hypothesis dapat formulated siya based on background research. Hypothesis should not be based on guesswork. Instead, researchers should use previously published research to predict the study's expected outcome. A hypothesis can be formulated in two ways, deductive and inductive logic. Sa inductive logic, it involves arriving at a probable conclusion based on several samplings. Sa deductive logic naman, it proceeds from a generalization to specifics. So based sa ating example, our hypothesis would be jeepney modernization will transform the road sector of public transport through the introduction of safer and climate-friendly vehicles, improved regulation, and industry consolidation.
To test the hypothesis, we need to make an observation or perform an experiment associated with a prediction. Pwedeng sumang-ayon ang resulta na makukuha dito at pwede ding mo-contradict ang mismong hypothesis. Hindi entirely sinasabi ng results natin na tama yung hypothesis, pero it is likely to be correct nga. For our example, will the second generation jeepneys be safer and environment friendly? According to Apropedia.org ay oo. Compared with traditional jeepney, e-jeepney is more cost-effective, has 87% lower greenhouse gas emissions, nakakabawas sa air pollution at sinasabi din na may health benefits ito. According sa study ay majority ng commuters ay prefer itong e-jeepneys, pero ano kayo masasabi ng ating mga drivers? Hindi makamasa ang cost nito. When the previous Duterte administration launched the program in 2017, each replacement unit was to cost about 1.2 million pesos only. Pero due to COVID, the cost was doubled, costing 2.4 million pesos. Some key features are added to the second-gen jeepneys to improve regulations, such as dashcams. Video captured by the dashcam can be used as evidence in insurance claims or fraud, or against drivers na hindi marunong umamin sa sarili nilang mali. Speed limiters para makaiwas sa mga kaskasero, and automatic fare system to keep the drivers from being distracted dahil sa pagbibil ng bayad at sukle. These features will definitely help improve regulation, but at what cost?
It's used in a controlled setting to find an unknown effect or law, to test or establish a hypothesis, or to provide an example of an established law. Testing is done through experimentation. Experimentation involves purposely manipulating one or more variables and then observing the results or effects on the other variables. Controls are frequently used in experimental designs to monitor system variability and look for error sources. the end of 2023, operators of jeepneys must join cooperatives or corporations under this phase-out. Their ability to obtain loans and payments plans for modern jeepneys should be aided by this. For 7 years of payments, the program plans to provide 5.6% subsidy with a 6% interest rate. We all know that the least expensive method of transportation in the Philippines is the jeepney. Both drivers and passengers can easily be picked up and dropped off because of the open rear door design. Unlike buses, they can stop whenever. One of the biggest pros of jeepney's modernization is that it can provide the country with more jobs.
Ang last part ng scientific method ay ang drawing of conclusions. Ano nga ba ang conclusions? A conclusion is the answer to the problem and based on a supported hypothesis. Dito natin makikita ang analysis of data na nagde-determine whether the hypothesis is supported or not. Ang mga data na i-analyze ay ang mga makukuha sa resulta ng experiment which may lead one to accept or reject the hypothesis, maalin man dyan sa dalawa. Ito rin ay dapat observable at objective. Dito rin matatagpuan ang publication of results. Kumbaga, andito na ang buong summary ng findings natin. So sa ating examples, ang na-conclude natin is if i-modernize natin ang jeepneys for the sake of pakikipagsabayan sa mga angat na countries or even just to make our country pollution-free, it will be hard for the jeepney drivers na bumili nito, lalo na't kakaunti lang din naman ang kinikita nila sa isang araw. Some drivers doesn't even own the jeepneys they use. Kadalasan ay boundary lamang nila ito, kaya't mahihirapan na makasabay ang lahat ng drivers dito sa ating bansa due to the fact na rin na modernized jeepneys isn't budget-friendly for them. If ever na ituloy ang jeepney phase-out at ipalit ang modernized jeepneys, we might also have less vehicles na pwede sakyan, especially since marami sa atin ang nagko-commute lamang.
Hindi kami pabor sa jeepney modernization kasi unang-una, hindi katulad namin, ang liit ng aming samahan, napakaliit ng kinikita. Kasi unang-una, ang gobyerno, nagkandak nga ng ganyang jeepney modernization nang wala silang feasibility study. Katulad niyan, yung rotang Siniloan Santa Cruz. Ang kinikita dyan is magkano lamang, para 1,000 hanggang 1,500. Ayon sa aming pagsusuri, yung kanilang tinutulak sa aming jeepney modernization, kailangan kumikita ng 30 to 35,000. Hindi kakayanin kumuha, kahit anong gawin mo. Kasi nga, unang-una, wala naman, yan naman kita mo yung daan natin, tabing baybaying dagat, wala naman dyan mga SM, factory, mga malalaking kumpanya. Kaya ang tao, limitado. Kaya ibig sabihin, yung kita, hindi talaga tayo makaka-compliance sa iniuutos ng government yung pinupursigin nilang jeepney modernization.